안녕하세요 여러분. Hello friends and welcome to my boss study guide video. I'm going to be going back and forth between a presentation I created and the gameplay, so let's go ahead and get started. These are my suggestions for purposeful and efficient study, and this would apply to any boss in the game, possibly other video games as well, but today we're focusing on StellarBlade. First, you want to determine your objective. Maybe you're trying to unlock a costume, like in the recent patch they added a bonus costume for beating a certain boss on hard mode in boss challenge. That happens to be the boss that we're working on, by the way. Or maybe you're like me, you're trying to develop consistency for speedrunning. You know, I speedrun this game and of course you gotta have consistent boss fights. Maybe you're trying to entertain your viewers. Maybe you're doing like a no damage video with stipulations and you gotta figure out, okay, how do I make this interesting to watch? My 5 steps are observe, apply, poke and prod, choreograph, and attempt. And if you've watched my stream at all, you've probably heard me talk about this same process because I have not changed it since the beginning. So whether this is all new to you or you've heard this before, I still hope that you can gain something from this video. And before we continue, I will let you know that this is a spoiler boss. So if you don't want to get spoiled, if you don't recognize the camp that we're sitting at, this is your chance to maybe get further into the game. This is the second to last boss in the game, and then come back when you get here. Or if you do recognize the camp, then you might already know who we're working on today.
선택받았다고 잘난 척하는 것도 여기까지야, 이부.
Step 1 is to observe. Here we want to increase longevity so we can work on pattern recognition. To do that, I'm going to first create an autosave. I'll just touch the skills shop, and if you were curious, these are the skills that I'm going to be using. My favorite beta skills, my favorite burst skills, nothing else really here, all that. And now we have an autosave, so now I'm going to reload into story mode, which will keep us alive pretty much forever. There are some enemies that don't spawn in on story mode compared to like normal or hard, so it has to refresh the entire world pretty much. And then, once we're back into the menu here, we're going to make our build as defensive as possible. So I have 3 melee protection gears on. I'll also put on the protection type exospine. If you have the recovery type exospine, you can put that one on as well. I just don't have it on this playthrough. And then I'll also put on a shield enhancement gear, so that we can survive even longer. And now we're ready to go. Now the other part of step 1 is to just block and listen. So we're going to count some metal clanging sounds, and I'll let you listen in so you can hear what I'm talking about. Let's jump into the boss here. And here, remember, you're just blocking. You're going to hold down L1 the entire time during this step, and just observe. So look for the tells, look for what makes, you know, what differentiates each attack. So you can hear the clanging that I'm talking about, and so with that you can kind of count how many attacks are in each string. And we're just going to do this for a while. Don't worry about dying. As you can see, even that grab barely did any damage to us. If you need to heal, right after any attack you'll have a little bit of a window to heal. And don't even try to avoid these unblockables. Don't jump over them, don't try to dodge them. Don't do anything. Don't try to parry anything. That was an accidental parry. You just want to hold down L1. If your guard ever breaks, go right back to holding L1. Like here, okay, I'm going to heal. And back to blocking. And I'm just counting. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And just by counting like this, you can hear the gaps between attacks, and that will be useful for the next step. So I'm going to spend some time doing this in phase 1, and maybe after like 10 or 15 minutes, I'll get her down to phase 2 and do the same thing for phase 2, because there are exclusive attacks that she only does in phase 2. Okay, so now we're in phase 2, and we're going to continue blocking and listening. And for the unblockable attacks, you can take note of when your health bar decreases. So the second you see that you're taking damage, then you'll know, okay, I gotta block a little bit before that. This one is kind of hard because you have you know, not so much to go off of, but there are audio cues and visual cues that you can use to dodge the Tempest, but we'll talk about that later. You can see I accidentally just walked past those very casually, so you can catalog that in your head, like, okay, I could walk past that if I want to. The focus here is to parry and dodge perfectly, because you want to have your default action response be just like the most efficient. If you're down on burst energy, or if you're down on beta energy, or if they are about to, you know, go into retribution like froggy state, you know, you want to default to that. Of course, in later steps, we're going to talk about other things you can do as well for evasion. So I'm just paying attention to when I take damage, counting the attacks. 3, 4, you know, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. So we see that's a 5 string. Of course, if you're about to die, just do the blink, you know, just to not die. But here, I should have healed earlier. But we still have time. After any attack, you can kind of just heal. Especially if you get downed. So the moment you get up quickly with circle, just go ahead and heal. That attack's over, I'm gonna heal. Go back to blocking. 2, 3, 4, unblockable. And I'm noticing, here you really gotta pay attention to what is Raven doing, you know? Is she doing like a front flip? Is she grabbing like her necklace? These are the tells that you want to look for to determine, okay, this is the 5 string, or this is the 4 string, or this is the other 4 string that ends in an unblockable. So I would spend some time in phase 1, then spend some time in phase 2, and once you're comfortable, once you feel like you've seen everything, we can move on to the next step. Step 2 is to apply. So all that counting that we just did, all the observations, we're going to use that knowledge to then start learning the timings. And it's really important here to only dodge the unblockable attacks. You do not want to be dodging early in strings. And I'll show you what I'm talking about, because it could be detrimental to your learning. 1 and 2. So for that 2 string, if you just dodge it, 1, 2. Here, I'll show you what I mean. Look, so I'm going to dodge that, and I still have invincibility. So the second hit, pretty much a dodge did the job of 2 parries. And of course, if you're trying to learn the timings, it's not very productive to rely on dodging early. You can do it later once you've learned the parry timings already, but that's why we want to focus on just parrying. Or if you're going to mix in dodges, do it as the very last hit of a string. So for example, let's see if she does like a longer string right here. 1, 2, and 3. So right there, I was able to not mess up any timings. Like, I still learned the timings there because it's the same input for dodge and parrying. But I also, maybe I needed burst right there, so I just got some burst energy back. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4. That's a pretty consistent L1, L1. You can see my inputs as well. Sometimes she'll do a fake out here, so you just gotta blink again. But she doesn't always do that. And by the way, make note that I'm not attacking here. You'll do clashes sometimes. If you don't like QTEs, you can turn them off. I love QTEs, so I just leave them on. 1, 2. There's a delay there, so if you see her back up and then come back in, it's gonna be a 1 delay too. This is just the overhead. 1, 2. Oh, well, there would have been a third part to that attack, but we got a retribution. And don't attack her, don't do the retributions until you're, oh look, a little bit early there, so you can kind of see, alright. 1, 2, 3. A little bit late on the second parry, which kind of messed up all the timings. 1. That was a late 1. You can press it earlier, you'll still get it if you have focus boost on. She did a fake out. 1, 2, and 3. And I could do this for every single string that Raven does, 2, 3, 4. But I'm trying to teach you how to fish, you know? If I just teach you one boss, it'll help you for that boss, but then what if you want to learn another boss? So I'm not going to show you every single string that Raven does and count it for you, because you know, I'm just giving you an example, and then you can learn it on your own. You know, I have faith in you. 2 and 3. Alright, so now we're on phase 2. She often opens with an overhead, but not every time. 1, 2, 3, 4, delay, and 5. Oh, a little bit late there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for here, as soon as you see the screen kind of cracking, you can press dodge. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then unblockable. I pressed dodge a little bit early there, but I got away with it. So that is different from her other 4-string because it's not quite as fast. There's a small delay between each attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we got a retribution. There is one string that she does very infrequently. I see it like maybe once per fight, if that. And it is her red string where she laughs to start it off. And if you see her laughing, just know that you have a 7 string coming at you. But of course, it's hard to practice because she doesn't do it very often. 1, 2, and 3. Not quite that big of a delay, just a small delay. So maybe no and, just 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, and then dodge forward. You can press triangle there for the free follow-up to rush. 1, 2, 3, 4, unblockable. I was late on the last hit there, but you can see they're more delayed. 1, 2, and 3. Small and 1. You can see even later in the fight, she may not do the fake out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Another Tempest. I guess I'll heal here. 1, 2, and then dodge forward. You can press triangle, get close again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there would have been a 4th hit there and then the unblockable, but we got a retribution. Let's see if we can get her to do the laughing string. The 7 string with her laugh, the laugh one, it is pretty dangerous. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a bit of a delay there between the 7th, and then there's an 8th hit unblockable. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like, to be honest, I've never even learned the 7 string laugh one because I've only seen it like a handful of times. Let's see, if we get far away, what does she do? 1, 2, 3, 4. That would have been the quick 4 string. She does have some projectiles where if you're just... she only does them at mid-range. So I'm gonna try to showcase that. Let me just get far away. You should do this too, and just stand at different distances. Like here, that's just her standalone 3-string projectile unblockable. 1, 2, 3, 4. But that's pretty much step 2. So you get the idea. Step 3 is to poke and prod. We want to start attacking, but not like we're trying to kill the boss. And by that I just mean, don't use beta chains or any burst skills or beta skills that would interrupt their strings. You still want to see their whole strings play out. And if you are using any speed increase gears for your attempt, you can go ahead and equip that right now. Like for me, at this stage in the speedrun, I would have the 15% speed increase gear, so I'm going to take off my shield enhancement and I'll just put on the speed gear right here. But everything else will continue leaving defensive. And we're really just trying to consider the viability of different combos based on the boss's behavior. That's why we're going to start attacking right now. And I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to give you some examples. So for example, Raven, she opens with either her 2-string, which is slower, or her quick 1-string. If she just did her 1-string, I know she's going to do her 2-string right after. She would never do 2 1-strings in a row. And so I can kind of do a longer string if I just parried the 1-string. Conversely, if she just did her 2-string, I'm going to be scared to do a longer string. I'll stick to like a quick string because I know that her 1-string is coming next. So let's see. Here, 1, so I'm going to go and do a longer one. And there, if I had like overdrive, for example, I would have been able to beta chain right there. 1, 2. 1, delay 2. I tried to get cute there and do an attack in the middle. It could benefit you to do some attacks in between. Bang, bang, blink. I know for some people it might help them with the timings instead of just counting to do attacks in between. So like right here you could do like an attack. You know, that might help you with the timings. 1, 2, and 3. Maybe you could get a hit in between hits 2 and 3 there. But we're just gonna be attacking, you know, just look at the... How good is this, you know? Like, how good is this combo against her? Oh, fake out. One that I don't think is very good at all is this one. Square, triangle, square. She always gets away for the 4th hit. 1, 2. By the way, when Raven is down, when she's groggy, I should say, before her retribution, I like to do 1, 2, and 3. I like to do 1, 2, 3, and then beta chain. 1, 2. Oh, that's the 1 delay 2. 1. I'll do an incursion N, which is square, 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 square. I'll beta chain it, and then I'll do 3 more square attacks, and then hit triangle. And that is safe. You can get that whole combo in every time. 1, 2. But I'll show it to you in action. 1, 2. 1, 2, and 3. So let's try to do an onslaught 4 here. Ooh, okay, so there we're able to recover, at least on the 4th hit. I couldn't do the whole thing. So 1, 2, 3. Beta chain, and then 1, 2, 3, and then you're able to get in the retribution if you just tap triangle after the 3rd hit. That is my go-to. If you did an extra hit, you wouldn't recover in time. You would not get the retribution on a Raven at least. Maybe I want to dodge over this and then do like a reflection or something. That looks pretty cool. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep attacking, just doing different strings. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then unblockable. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I get an onslaught, or okay, so there I was able to interrupt. You know, at some point after you attacked enough, you can start mixing in the beta chains. You just don't want to do it too much until you're very comfortable with all of the parry timings. You don't want to interrupt her attacks because it'll rob you of some learning there. 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, beta chain. 1, 2, 3. There, I did the 4th hit, and you can see I was mashing triangle. I was not able to get it in. So I lost the retribution there. So that's why I just do 3 hits after the first beta chain. One, 2. 1, get an attack in. 2. Bang, bang. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Here's your laugh string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, delay 7, and then unblockable. That's her laughing string. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then unblockable. But that's pretty much step 3. As you can see, we're just attacking. You know, once you're very comfortable with your parry timings, you can start mixing in the beta chains. You can start mixing in like overdrives to get an even better feel. But I don't want you to be interrupting too much, too fast. Because you want to just mostly, more than anything, we're focusing on the parry timings. Step 4 is optional, and it is to choreograph. So if you're doing like a cool YouTube video, you want to determine the key things that you want to showcase. Like, for example, let's say I want to make sure that I get in one of each follow-up to like my counters. Like I want to show off counter chain 2, counter chain 1, you know, I want to get a chain reflection 1 in there, and I want to get a chain reflection 2. I want to get all of them in there. And maybe I want to use my descending break in a cool way, and I want to use it to jump over and attack. Because, you know, Raven has like some stuff that, you know, she'll swipe at you, but if you're in the air, you can see that you dodged it. It looks really cool. And that is a different form of evasion. Descending break will give you some height, and so if she has like a big swipe, you can use this to get over it, and it can look cool on video. And we're just trying to, you want to express your creative vision. So whatever it is, like, you know, all you guys, I know there's people out there much more creative than me. You guys can find different cool ways to, you know, use these skills. Like for example, you know, triplet. Triplet's a cool one because the second hit of triplet, you go airborne briefly. And so you can use that as well to maybe go over a low attack. On Raven, it'd be kind of hard, but her single, like her one hitter at the beginning of the fight is a low attack. And so you can get over that. And I'll show you a clip of what that looks like with Onslaught 3. I have a random cool clip of just jumping over that. Or maybe you want to use counter 1 right after the last parry and go into a retribution off of that. So for example, bam, and then go into a counter 1, and then right as you come back, go into the retribution. Maybe you want to get that in your video. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I can jump over this. Maybe I want to jump over that and go in there with a dive. Maybe I want that on video. Or maybe when she does these projectiles, I want to dodge over this and then go into one of these cool follow-ups. Or maybe you want to, you know, dodge her Tempest and then go into your own Tempest. You know, literally you could do whatever you want. Maybe you want to take her lap string and then just put a stop to it. One, two, three, four. Jump over it. Bang, bang, bang. Maybe I like dodging that instead of doing the blink. You know, that looks pretty cool. Or maybe you want to end it on the retribution. Maybe you want to end it in talkie mode. It's up to you. You can do anything you want. You can make your video your own. Maybe you want to fail this on purpose, and then it's like, oh, surprise, this is actually a Raven video. This video is about Raven. And then go into like a montage of just getting grabbed by everything that Raven does, or dying in all sorts of ways. The final step, step 5, is to just go into attempts. So here you're going to tailor your loadout to your objective and playstyle. For me, since I'm working on consistency for new game hard speedrunning, I would be using, here's the loadout that I would be using. I would have a burst charge gear on, because I can get this one during the speedrun. I would also have the double edge gear on for extra damage. That's just the 1-star, because it's the easiest one to get. I would also put on the perfect combat gear, because we can grab this really easily in Spire. And then the last one from Unidentified Nativa is just the speed increase gear. So this is my setup. I would also do, like chain type and burst trance. This is what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using this exact setup. But maybe you love beta skills, and so instead of this, you could do like beta trance-type exospine, and you could research different skills. You know, maybe you want to make use of all the beta skills in your video. Maybe you don't want to use any burst, or alternatively, you could use all the burst and no beta. It's up to you. Or you could use none of anything. So it's really just depending on your playstyle. There is no correct way to play the game. It is all about expressing yourself, and so I encourage you to mix up, you know, the exospines and the gears that you use, and you know, find out your playstyle. Like for me, I love slow walking in videos, and so one of my favorite strings is just on slot 3, but not doing the 4th hit, and then just using that to go into cool slow walks. And then remember to just enjoy the failures. You know, learning is super fun. Every failure you can learn something from, and if you want to revisit the earlier steps, you can go back. Here is possibly what your timeline could look like. So I would say spend like 10 minutes in phase 1, 10 minutes in phase 2 for a total of 20 minutes observing. And then you could apply that for about 30 minutes, you know, 15 minutes each phase. Then go into just a little bit of attacking to learn, you know, combo viability. Again, 15 minutes per phase for a total of 30 minutes. Spend like 15 minutes thinking about, okay, what do I want to do? You could, of course, you could be thinking about this throughout the entire time, but actually explore specific things that you'd want to, you know, choreograph into your video. You know, spend a little bit on that. And then your attempts, depending on what you're doing, could take, you know, hours. Here's some bonus tips. If you are still uncomfortable with certain attacks and you're looking like Taki here, I strongly recommend to just take a break so you can process stuff. Like seriously, if you just come back tomorrow, for example, and let your brain gestate all the info that you're overloading it with, you're gonna come back and be like, oh, this is like, this timing is easy. This is actually super easy to do. Or you could just interrupt the attack if it's not invincible. Pretty much every boss will have at least one invincible attack. The only one that Raven has is her Tempest. You can't stop her from doing that once she starts it. Or you could also use invincibility to circumvent the attack completely, like going into Taki mode, or using something like Tempest that has a lot of invincibility frames, or to some extent, Descending Break to go over the attack. Finally, before we get into the no damage video, I would like to thank you guys so much for 2,000 subscribers. Seriously, thank you friends for your comments on my videos, you know, just for your viewership, participating in chat during my live streams or in our Discord server, which you can join in the description, by the way, for your donations, for your channel memberships, everything. Thank you so much, and I'm really excited to continue making content for you friends. Special thank you to our channel members for directly supporting the channel. It's thanks to you guys that I can have cool custom emojis, and so the more members we get, the more art I can commission to use as emojis on the channel. So I want to thank all of you individually. Thank you Anand, thank you Sinut, thank you CB98, thank you Edgar, thank you Ferris, thank you Fox Says Meow, thank you Fujin, thank you Gojira, thank you Anominate, thank you Jackson, thank you John Chanlix, thank you Kixie, thank you Leon, thank you Lobstrosity, thank you Lowkey1445, thank you Requiem Lich, thank you Talon, thank you Tazel, thank you WR Fernandez. I really appreciate you guys. To recap, here's the exact loadout that I'm using for the no damage video coming up. My Blood Edge is at 970 base damage, there's my exospines, my gears. If you have any questions, feel free to jump into the stream if you see me live. I only stream here on YouTube, you can ask me questions there, or you can join our free to join Safe for Work Discord server. Someone could probably help you in there as well. And thank you so much for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate you guys once again for everything. Take care.
이 모습으로 싸워야 하겠고.